advice, their input is truly recommendable. And he has a well of wisdom. He's so passionate for young people. He's so passionate for people achieving their dreams. And every Saturday evening, we're going to always have a mentorship class with him. He ran a lot of mentorship classes with the Rangers Union starting in 2019, and we're going to continue every Saturday evening with Urban. He's extremely passionate. I can't wait to hear from him. I can't wait to see you people receiving the message he has on his heart. So Urban Murangira Baritima, my friend, my mentor, really, we welcome you, and we hope that we shall learn a lot from you. So the floor is yours, Urban. Please take the floor. You can tell us anything you want us to do within your session, but for now, I close it here. Urban Murangira Baritima, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, my brother Joseph. I'm trying to set myself clear so that both parties, those on the WhatsApp group and those that are on Zoom, are able to benefit. So I don't know whether I'll be able to record audios for those on WhatsApp, at the same time be able to deliver for those that are online. So this is how we are going to proceed. On your Zoom, there is an option for raising your hand. So in case of anything, you can raise your hand. Then there is also an option for the chat. In case of any question, you can still be able to post it in the chat and I will get it. Otherwise, I think that is it. We have quite a number of people here, and most of them are even new names to me. I have not gotten an opportunity to meet them, but I think we can use 1 or 2 minutes to be able to hear from them so that we can proceed as friends and colleagues other than strangers. So if you have good network, which I believe you do, I will mention your name just from the list that I'm seeing here. You unmute and just introduce yourself in a minute. Then we can do that for 5 minutes. Then we shall have our session. So I'm having, if I pronounce your name wrongly, you pardon me. We have Alokin. Alokin. You can unmute and introduce yourself.
Okay, good evening, guys. My name is Alokin Apology, and yes, glad to be here and hope to learn with it.
All right, thank you. I see Rambale.
Yeah, thank you so much, Urban, and the co-host, Mr. Tahinduka. This is Wambale Binepe Luanzo. I'm from Lira University, the current debate president. I'm happy to be here with you, and I hope to enjoy the session. Thank you.
We are honored to have you, Your Excellency. We have Festo.
Hello, everyone. I am Festo Kato, founder Box Out, and I've been good friends with TJ. I normally call him TJ. That's how I'm used to addressing him. I mean, success in network is not as good, but I'm here, and I hope to read on this.
All right, we are glad to have you. I see your name, Consolao. Okay, I think Constance has not been able to unmute. Let's hear from Prima Virunji.
Hi everyone. I'm almost sure my network is ugly, but my name is Birunji Prima, and yeah, excited to learn. I don't know if you're getting me because I'm very sure my network.
All right, thank you, friends, for those that have been able to introduce themselves. We have one more, then we can go into our discussion. Bonnie.
Good evening. Bonnie Bainomsha is my name. I am a lawyer and currently at the Law Development Center, Lira campus, and I'm glad to join you.
Okay, friends, you are all welcome, and thank you for making time to be here. I'll try my level best to be as brief as possible so that you can enjoy your night and weekend. So basically, we try to get to our WhatsApp group so that I'll be able to cater for all the sides. So basically, we are talking about the iceberg principle in our mentorship class today. When we were told that we were going to have a mentorship class, I thought about what we would discuss. Given the fact that we are having a number of people enjoying their vacation and most of us are youth, I thought about having a lesson that would help us build ourselves as young people, more so for the tasks that we are having ahead of us. So while I was thinking, a thought came in my mind, and this was about one of my favorite topics, which is the iceberg principle. I had about the iceberg principle 5 years back, and to me, it made a lot of sense. And I thought if we could share about the iceberg, it would be such a great lesson for us. So when we think about an iceberg, the first thing that comes in our mind, of course, is the great Titanic. So when you hear and read about the great Titanic, when this great ship was constructed, the constructor of this great Titanic assured the people that it is the greatest of the greatest that one can make. And indeed, it was a very, very strong ship that had been built. People trusted it, that taken years constructing it, and people had a lot of confidence in this vessel. So the great Titanic had been given an estimate of years, that this was strong, it would move such and such a distance, it was able to stand the storm, because the constructor had assured people that there was no amount of storm that would put the great Titanic down. So people had a lot of faith in this great Titanic. But we see the great Titanic on its move. While on sea, we all know the story. We know whatever happened, this great ship was finally down. So the question is, what crashed this great Titanic? Now, when you hear about what crashed this great Titanic, even the people that were in this very ship could not believe that it was going to crash. When you look at that iceberg that was able to put it down, of course, on top of the water, it was a small piece that even when this ship would hit that iceberg, the ability of each of this ship and its strength should have been able to crash this ice, and it cracks it down and it continues moving. So when you look at the picture of the iceberg, the real one, the tip that was on top of the water was not something that was too big that would crash the great Titanic down. But it so happened that this great Titanic was crashed. And people kept on wondering and asking, what has crashed the great Titanic? Is it this tip of an ice that we are seeing that has crashed down the great Titanic? So people developed now the iceberg principle. They try to question themselves, this great Titanic, is it this small piece of ice that we are seeing that has crashed it down? So when they went to do the research on the iceberg, they found out that while this iceberg that was seen was a very, very small thing, down below, underwater, below the water surface, there was a very, very big iceberg. So the people would only see the tip of the iceberg, but they would not see what was below the water, which was a very, very huge ice. So from there, they developed the principle that there is what the people see, and then there is what the people do not see. And that is what forms the whole basis of the iceberg principle. The iceberg principle is about what you see and what you do not see. And the fact is, when you make a ruling or a judgment, or when you form your opinion based on what you see, you are likely to be crushed down, just like the great Titanic was crushed down. Below what you see, there is a great something that you do not see, and that is what has the ability to crash. So because they focused on the tip and looked at the tip, they thought, no, this great Titanic would be able to overcome. So the whole idea of the iceberg principle, it is an idea that says, much as what you see could be small, or whatever you see is supported by something big that you do not see. So while you look at the tip of the iceberg, that tip is supported by something very, very big that you're not seeing. So that was the whole principle where the idea of leadership comes from. I've always told the friends that I've been with here that leadership is 90% character and 10% skill. So when somebody is drawing the pyramid of leadership, the higher tip is skill, but the lower, bigger part of it is character. Meaning that much as we see leaders shining, for you, when they ask you about a leader, let me see, which example can I cite in Uganda that we can use as a great leader? So, oh my God, God save our country. I'm lacking a very good example to use. Let me honor our president and use our president as a good leader, holding all factors constant. So while people say that the president, His Excellency Museveni, is a great leader, for us, we may look at the tip, which is the 10%, but below that 10%, there is something that we do not see. So while people may stand and they say, wow, Joseph is an excellent guy, he is an excellent leader. For us, we see him when he's speaking to us in public. But what supports what we see in public public is what we do not see, and that tip of the iceberg, the strength was in the base of the iceberg, which is something that we were not seeing. So that very principle has been applied in all the things. For example, for you who are in town, you may look at a building. You look at the top building, probably the material is not strong. Full building stand were buried in the ground. People take good time while making the foundation, and that's where most of the money goes. So you'll find that most of the money is in making that concrete. So you find that a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort has been invested in the foundation. But when we come 1 year later, for us, we see a very beautiful building standing. And the question is, what makes this beautiful building stand? So you find that whatever we look at is not in actual sense the big deal. The big deal is something that we do not see, something that is buried, and all that is the iceberg principle. So whatever people see, whatever people celebrate and cherish is not the exact thing that should be cherished. What holds that lighting thing is something that is buried, is something that is not seen. And therefore, that is still the iceberg principle. So we can use a number of examples. For example, in Uganda, we have our own Cheptegei, we have our Kiprotich. So surprisingly, most of us got to hear about Cheptegei when Cheptegei won the gold medal. So for us, we have seen that just that tip of the iceberg. But there are people who have been with Cheptegei, there are people who have been with Kiprotich. They know what Kiprotich goes through, they know what Cheptegei goes through. For us, we only watch the 1 week that is on the screen. But guys will tell you that these guys have climbed the mountains, these guys have moved. So that small thing that we see in 1 week and we celebrate, for us, we think that it is the most important. But the most important thing is the other mountains that he climbs when nobody is seeing, when nobody is minding. So that still is the iceberg principle. So when you look at this principle, it means that without this base being there, there is no way these people would have done a great job of crushing a big vessel. Without the unseen thing being worked on, this glittering face of viewers that we see may not be able to do great and amazing things as it ought to. So when you understand the iceberg principle in your life, you will know exactly where to invest your efforts, where to invest your energies. So we have found people who have invested their efforts in the tip, and there are people who have made efforts to invest in the base. The moment you invest in the base, there is no doubt that the tip will be able to do amazing things. Should you make a mistake and invest all your efforts in the tip, ignoring the base, it will simply be a matter of time. The moment something hits you, you will simply crash down. So we have seen a number of people who have built houses, and you find that people have invested a lot of money in designing the house. Somebody, because he wants people to see and they celebrate his or her house, somebody puts in a lot of glass, puts in wonderful windows, wonderful doors, uses the most expensive iron sheets that are there. You know, somebody makes the top very beautiful. Reason being, that is what the people see. So when you focus on what the people see, when you want to be celebrated, when you want to be, to be praised, you will work on the tip, you will work on the outer things. then you will invest less in what people do not see. But should any challenge come in life, let it be a storm, let it be heavy rains, I can assure you that the top will be swept away. So the whole idea of the iceberg principle is that you have two sections. You have the tip and you have the base. The tip is what is seen, the base is what is not seen. The question is, where are you building your strength? Where are you investing in your life? Should you make a risk and you behave like the modern girls and ladies of today, and you put in a lot of efforts, and you invest in the tip, which is the outer, what is seen, you will make a great mistake in your life. It is very, very good that you invest in the base. It doesn't do harm after investing in the base if you also invest in the tip, which is seen. The danger is in focusing on the seen and you forget the unseen. There you know that you're going to be finished. So now going back to the application of the iceberg principle in our lives as young people, as youth. When of course, we have a lot of time, that means the presumption is we have more time to live on earth compared to our fathers. So you have more time ahead of you. That means, one, there is a test of time. The question is, are you going to stand the test of time? Are you going to be relevant in this generation until you leave? So here, that means that you need to invest in yourself. But the question still remains, where are you investing as a young person? Are you investing in what people see? What people see, by the way, could even include your career. For example, you find that you are a doctor and you do well, by the way, and invest in your academics, which is a very good investment. But the career that you are investing in, which is something that we shall see you as an excellent doctor. You of course, you are the one who is winning. Even in practice, you do the best surgeries. That is something that is okay. But remember, as you're working on what is seen, ladies and gentlemen, should you forget the base, it is just a matter of time. At any point, when the great Titanic comes in your life, and may come in any form, the moment it hits that tip, it will be crushed. We have seen wonderful doctors, but because they have failed to build on the unseen, basically, which could be maybe their character, maybe it could be their relationships, and we have seen them crash from being the best doctors, and finally they become drunkards, because at a certain point, they failed to build on those things that are not seen. We have so many examples. Whether you are a bishop, whether you are a pastor, you could work on how best you want to preach. And when you stand on the pulpit, everyone says, wow, Pastor so and so is excellent. But should you forget to deal with the iceberg principle and have a strong foundation, making sure that the unseen is strong, one day you will simply crash. So always focus on what is not seen, because what is not seen is what holds what other people see. Even your private life is very, very important, more than the public life. Whatever you do in the dark is what is going to help whatever you do in the light to stand. Because you can do 100 amazing things. Should one wrong thing that you do in the dark be exposed, all your efforts that you have been investing in will be multiplied by 0. So the whole iceberg principle encourages you to look at the unseen, that the unseen is more important than the seen. So as young people, we need to start working on our unseen. In the room alone, in the place where there is no one, start building on your unseen. The challenge that we have, we need to be seen at any time. If Kiprotich wanted to be seen very, very early, he would never have become the Kiprotich that he is now. The guy took time and made his rehearsals deep in the village, deep in his primary school, deep in those places that are not recognized. The guy started working and working and working. When you work on the unseen, when you work on those things that people do not see, time comes when people will see and you will shine. But should it happen that you are now working on what people are seeing, you will have a very, very big problem. So friends, the iceberg principle takes us back to our sacred places. That can you sit down? I was thinking about my friends who are in the vacation. Most of them, of course, are looking for jobs, which is a wonderful thing. But should it happen that you have not found that job that you need, what is that thing that you are doing? You can get a job that earns you probably 1 million or 500,000, but that job takes away your time that you would use to work on that background, on that unseen. You will have lost most of the precious amounts of money that you could have ever made in your life. So the iceberg principle tells us that can we first pull back, concentrate on the unseen, make it so strong enough that once the sin comes in, the sin will be having a big foundation for it to stand. So most people have not been able to sustain their lives simply because they have not managed to work on their private lives. You need enough time with yourself and work on the best which is not seen. Sit down and read that book when you are alone. Work on your character and build it. Character will never be built in a public place. Even when we go to a public place like church and a sermon is preached, it takes you to go back in a place where you are alone, in the place that is unseen, and you meditate upon that sermon until it sinks deep in your heart. So people who have taken time and worked based on the iceberg principle, worked on themselves, invested in themselves in the secret place, the moment they come out in the light, they are strong enough that nothing can put them down. Those are the leaders that you have seen standing throughout the season. But should it happen that you are exposed to a public life, when you have not worked on your private life, then that will be a timely bomb that will explode at any time. So we have seen this in all our leaders that we have had. We have seen those that have been built in the unseen and have been able to stand out. And we have had those that just came, worked on the outside, and they have crashed in no time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to encourage you that even as we start our journey in the mentorship class, uh, just be slow on the other part, which is the sin. Invest a lot of time on the unseen. The unseen is so amazing and so powerful that it dictates what happens with the sin. So the same principle happens in all aspects. Maybe you are a young man and you're looking for a woman to marry. Should you use the iceberg principle and you compare the seen and the unseen, you will never go wrong. So there is something about the unseen that somebody looks at you and beyond what he sees a strong foundation in you. He sees a very strong value system. He sees a very strong character. He sees very strong principles. He sees a high level of integrity. All these things that we do not see, these things that we do not find in school, that the ones that make a difference in our life. So I just wanted to, as we kickstart, to encourage you that meditate about the iceberg principle and ask yourself that, yes, I am a handsome young man, I am a beautiful young lady, and this is the seen part. But think and question yourself, how about the unseen part? How am I standing with the unseen. Remember, with the unseen, it is a self-assessment issue. You are the one supposed to sit down in the quiet and you analyze yourself. In the unseen, what do I have? How strong is my base? Otherwise, if nice English is what you have, if beauty is what you have, if just, intellectualism is what you have, then there is a very, very big risk that should the Titanic come, instead of crashing it, it is you that will be crushed. Should anything come up in your life, it will crash you down. But once you have appreciated the iceberg principle, you have worked on the unseen, then the seen will also do a lot of wonders. So as I conclude, I've seen people admire others. I also admire some of them. I've also been admired at a certain point. And while we admire people, we admire the seen, but we never interest ourselves in the unseen. When you go behind the scene, you will see that this guy does a lot of things that you do not see. And if we can be interested in the unseen, then we would do good. Anytime that you meet a person and you admire this person, for example, admire how far this person has gone in life, try to tell that person to take you to the unseen part. Leave alone this thing of how do you speak well, how do you look so well like this, how do you make money like this. Let that person take you to the unseen part. And you see the character behind this person. You see how these people have built this level of resilience. Once you appreciate the unseen, I can assure you that the seen part will just be a walkover. So the iceberg principle is all about the seen and the unseen, and where do you invest your efforts? Where do you invest your time? We have always been told that the most precious things in life are the things that are not seen. We have seen people give up their life for love. We have never seen love. There is an amount of courage that can make you overcome a lot of things. Nobody can say, show me courage, and you see it. Determination is so important. You can never see determination. Passion. Those are the things that are not seen and are the things that make a difference in our lives. You never see integrity, you just see the fruits of integrity. So make sure you have enough time and invest in those things that are not seen. Work on your character, work on your values, work on your level of passion, your level of determination, work on your resilience, work on your emotional intelligence. The moment you have built on those things, they form the foundation upon which the rest of the things are going to start. Otherwise, I have met people. You would never want to meet a person who has money without character. They will be the worst people you can meet. Some of you that have met beautiful ladies, you would never want to meet a beautiful lady who has no character. Actually, the whole beauty totally goes away and the person becomes ugly even when she is beautiful, simply because the person did not work on the unseen. So while we strive in life to make all that we want, while we want to make the money, while we want to make popularity, while we want to make all the good things we want to make, they will all be very, very useless, and we shall have a very terrible ending if we do not work on the unseen. So ladies and gentlemen, that is simply the iceberg principle. And while we continue with our series in the mentorship, we shall be working on the unseen, because that is the most important. The moment we work on the unseen, the seen will just be automatic. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the simple introduction so that we can be able to understand the direction that we are going to take and the reason as to why we want to focus on the unseen. It is the foundation upon which the beautiful seen will be able to stand. should you build a beautiful scene before you make a strong foundation, it will be a matter of time and the wind will be able to blow it away. So I'll stop here for today since we are now coming to 9. Since we started a little bit late, minutes in the hour of 9. Otherwise, I will again hand over to Joseph as we pick on a few questions, then we can close our session for today. Otherwise, thanks for being here and thanks for listening. Joseph is not here. I guess network has kicked him out. We can use the chat to ask the questions, or you can raise your hand and then I'll pick you and you can ask your question. I think the network has been terrible this evening.
Yes, Abba.
And Joseph is out, so he will not be able to close the session, and the number of people have been thrown out.
Zero 0774970641. Ngolo Chibio Kubie 0774970641. Hello. Yes, Aban. Can you get me? Hello.
Yes, Mr. Bambal, I can see your hand.
Yes, Aban. Thank you so much. Are you getting me? I always do not like to speak when I don't get feedback because I tend to assume that maybe I'm speaking to myself.
Now able to hear you.
Okay. Oh, so basically, being the introduction part of the program, I would like to not comment much about the lesson, but I would like to send my appreciation and say thank you so much for the lesson. The Iceberg principle is amazing, as you've explained it, and I'm actually very eager to learn more about it. So as we go ahead with these sessions, that I would encourage everyone to at least make sure they attend. I would be very grateful to learn more from other members too, and to be able to transform my inner being as the lesson has been. So thank you so much, Mr. Urban. I basically just wanted to appreciate. Yeah, I'll keep on interacting. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Wambale, for that feedback. Mr. Joseph is back in the house. Mr. Joseph, we have basically concluded, and I was handing over to you. If there are no any questions.
Thank you so much. Maybe just a reminder to the members that attended, you can make it 60. So kindly inform a friend that every Saturday evening we shall be having a session, a workshop facilitated by Urban Murangira, or at his convenience, he can call in other people for us to build ourselves and become better people. I'm sorry I had stepped out. My Wi-Fi had got a problem. But now I'm back, and we want to thank you so much, Bonnie, Chiremba, Praise, Wambare, Ken, Sarah, Aloikin, Apology, and everybody who attended. Let's be here next time on Saturday, same time. Thank you. My name is Joseph Tahinduka, and I'm a member of the Rangers Union. Thank you so much. Chiremba, you have a question?
Thank you. Not really.
Yes, Chiremba, you have a question?
Not really a question, but just an appreciation.
Okay.
So pleased to be part of this platform. I had a question, but in the meantime that it has been an introduction, I think I'll just add my members and my fellows that let us take this as serious. And a great appreciation to Urban. I'm so pleased that you've really
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chiremba, for those kind comments, and we promise to do better and be much better and bigger as we build ourselves to be better people. Otherwise, have a good evening, friends. Keep loving yourself and keep loving other people.